If you try to get rid of aphids on your fruit trees every spring, try the opposite, attract them. Now, before you think I've lost it, aphids have basically been following me for years. From France to Portugal to here in the Azores. Same story every time. And I used to fight them every season until I did this. Now I don't try to stop them, I just decide where they go. And weirdly enough, that's when everything changed. No more spraying, no chasing them every week, and no turning spring into a full-time job. If you've ever seen this on your fruit trees, you know the feeling. Right now this tree is about to break dormancy, but last season it was completely covered in aphids, and you can still see the damage that they left behind. When aphids land on those young tender shoots, they start feeding on the sap, basically draining sugars and nutrients straight out of the new growth. And that's where the problems start. The leaves begin to curl, new growth becomes twisted and weak, and everything gets covered in that sticky residue. And then the ants show up running up and down like they're managing the whole thing, because aphids produce this sugary liquid called honeydew, and ants actually farm them for it, protecting them and helping them spread. So what you end up with isn't just a few insects on your tree, it is pressure that is building up right here where your tree is trying to grow the most. And that's the key, because when the early growth gets hit, the tree slows down, it struggles to establish properly, and your fruit production takes a hit later on. So the instinct is obvious. We need to get rid of them. And that is exactly what I did in the beginning. I tried all the usual stuff, from soap sprays to blasting them off with water, pruning the tips, checking every few days, and to be fair, it worked for about a day or two. Then I would come back and it was like the aphids had invited their whole family reunion. Same tree, same problem, all over again. And after going through that a few seasons in a row, I realized something important. It's usually not just bad luck. In most cases, it comes down to how your tree is set up, and more importantly, what is growing around it. Because aphids, they don't just show up randomly. They go exactly where the conditions are right. So instead of asking, how do we get rid of aphids? The better question is, how do we make sure that they don't choose our tree in the first place? And once you understand why they show up, you can then start controlling where they go. And it's actually quite simple. Aphids are just looking for the easiest meal in town. They go for soft, fast growing, tender new growth, especially in spring, which is exactly what your fruit tree is producing. But the real difference isn't just the tree, but it's what's happening around it. Because when a tree is planted completely alone, or is just surrounded by grass and not much else, it becomes the easiest target in the entire area. There's nothing to distract pests, nothing to absorb the pressure, and nothing to attract predators early on. So everything ends up concentrating on one tree. And that's when you get the classic aphid takeover. And this is exactly why reacting doesn't solve it. Because by the time you notice the curled leaves, the aphids are already established, already multiplying, and you are already behind. But if we're not preventing the problem, we are always late. So instead of trying to fight aphids after they have chosen your tree, you change the setup around it so it never becomes the obvious target in the first place. Now, the goal isn't to eliminate aphids. That's almost impossible in any natural garden, for that matter. They fly in, they spread, they reproduce fast, they will always exist somewhere. But the goal is to control where they go. So instead of protecting the tree, we need to give them something that is better to attack, because aphids are quite simple. They go for the easiest target. So if your fruit tree is the easiest option, of course they will choose it. But if something else is easier, they will go there instead. And that is the whole strategy. And this is where it gets interesting, because you can do this before the aphids even show up. Right now, when your tree is just starting to wake up and push new growth, this is the perfect moment, because in early spring, everything starts growing at the same time, and aphids usually settle on whatever is already a bit ahead. So instead of letting your tree be that target, we make sure something else gets there first, something softer, something easier, something they will choose instead. And this is what is often called a trap crop. So this is what that actually looks like. Right here I've got a few plants growing that aphids tend to go for first. Things like nasturtium and mustard, and last year they went straight onto my sunflowers and completely covered them as well. So I'll definitely be adding those again. And you can use whatever grows well in your climate as long as it does the same thing. Fast growth, soft leaves, and it gets going early. That's really the key, because aphids are just looking for the easiest place to land, and these plants give them exactly that. So when everything starts waking up in spring, these are often a little bit ahead, and that's enough, because instead of landing on your fruit tree, they land right here. And that is the first wave. And the first wave is everything, because if that early pressure hits your fruit tree, that's when you get the curled leaves, the slowed growth, and the tree struggling right when it's trying to establish. But if that first wave gets pulled away, you've already won most of the battle. Now, where you plant and place these around your main fruit tree matters. You don't want to put the crops right up against the trunk, especially with a young tree. That's where you want to keep things a little bit more open and instead place them a little bit further. So here I've got the nasturtium, here I've got some mustard, and this is going to take the pressure before it ever builds up on the new growth. So think of it like this. The tree is here, and the plants, they just sit right around it, catching that first attention. And this part is important. You don't need a lot of these plants. A couple of plants like this can already make a big difference. Of course, diversity helps over time, but in the beginning, you can keep experimenting by keeping it very simple and giving the aphids one clear, easy target. And then at some point, the aphids will show up. And when they do, you need to remember what this setup actually is. It's not like a magic shield, it's simply a pressure valve. So once you've attracted the aphids, this is where you need to stay in control, because what happens is they build up right here exactly like we want, but if nothing gets done, that's when it turns against you, because at that point you're not managing aphids anymore, you're simply just growing them. So what I do instead is very simple. I let the aphids build up on these plants first. That's the whole point. And when it gets too much, I step in, I simply cut back the worst, remove the heavily infested growth, and simply feed it to the chickens. That way, that pressure gets taken out of the system. And this is important. You can't get attached to these plants. They're essentially sacrificial. They are here to take the hit so your fruit tree doesn't have to. But this is where it gets even more powerful, because instead of just redirecting the aphids, you can actually bring in what eats them. Because once aphids show up, they don't go unnoticed. There are insects that are constantly looking for them. Things like ladybugs, hoverflies, and lacewings. And their larvae are the real workers. They feed on aphids a lot. So instead of trying to deal with everything yourself, you can bring in help. And the way you do that is by planting things that attract them. Simple flowering plants like fennel, dill, coriander, calendula, plants that produce a lot of small flowers that these insects can actually feed on. Because the adults, they don't just eat aphids, they also need nectar and pollen. So if there is nothing for them here, they won't stay. And this is where most gardens fall short. You might have the pests, but you don't have the support system around them. So everything feels out of balance. But when you combine the two, something very interesting happens. You've got your trap plants where the aphids build up, and right next to that you've got plants that attract their predators. So now you're not just moving the problem, you're concentrating it and bringing in the solution at the same time. And that's when things really start working for you, because after a while you will start seeing it. Ladybugs start showing up, hoverflies start hovering around, larvae feeding on aphids, and suddenly what used to be a problem becomes something that the system handles on its own. So instead of fighting aphids, or any pest for that matter, you're just setting the stage so everything ends up in the right place. And this is the bigger shift. You don't solve problems in a food system by fighting them directly, because if you fight them directly, you are always late. Instead, you design the system so the problem happens somewhere else. You're not trying to eliminate nature. You're learning how you can steer it in a way. And once you see it that way, this whole idea of pest control becomes a lot less stressful, because it stops being a constant battle and it starts becoming something that you can design from the start. And this is just one small example of what happens when you stop planting your fruit trees on their own and start building a system around them. Because when you build a simple guild, every plant has a job. And this is exactly what I'm going deeper into in my upcoming workshop, where I will show you step by step how to design and plan these guilds properly. And if you want to join that, you can sign up for the waitlist below. And if you want to see the 5 types of plants that I plant around every fruit tree to help it grow stronger and more resilient, make sure to watch this video next, because in that video I show you the different types of plants that I always use around my fruit trees, so you can start building your own system right away. And as always, thanks for watching and happy forest gardening.